Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Midday Market Report, closing bell, all wrapped up into one. It's Friday. Don't be the pizza man. Fade the public Friday. Whatever the hell you want to call it. We're here. We're not going anywhere. We've been in here since January 1st, 2015. January 1st, 2023 will be the start of our 8th full season. Love to educate with a little entertainment. Again, we save that entertainment for that 4-letter word. It starts with an E and it ends with N, and it's got an S and a P in between. And that other one, they're kind of sly as a FOX or something like that. But anyways, we're here today to get you ready, to get you to the window. A handful of games in the NHL, a bigger slate in the NBA, a sprinkle, some college football, and of course, Game 3, San Diego at the Phillies. Overnight, Phillies minus 110, quick flip, San Diego now favored. Musgrove over Suarez, minus 113 right now with our friends at the CIRCA, plus 103 if you like the home dog Phillies. So without further ado, let's bring him in from the south side, Mr. Riley Magnuson. What is up, Riley?
What is up, my friend? Happy Friday afternoon. Good to be back after a few hours away from you in the Big Ten breakfast bankroll this morning. But I'm locked and loaded. Got my Big Ten blog out a couple hours ago. So looking over, there's just the rest of the day lines here. I am ready to rock and roll, my friend. You mentioned we got a heck of an NBA slate tonight. Obviously, the MLB slate. I'm assuming you may or may not have an NHL opinion or two. I can't lend that too much on my own side. But nonetheless, ready to rock and roll wherever you'd like to go, my friend. I don't know about you, but as far as starting things off, the one thing we failed to mention this morning, I think, was the big trade news out of the NFL. We kind of touched on a little bit of a recap of other things this morning, but I think the one thing we missed was the McCaffrey trade to San Francisco that is now apparently official as of the last few hours here. So interested in your thoughts and what you're thinking as far as the implications of this trade here.
It's funny. Last week when I was talking to people on certain shows, anyone that wanted to listen, and I always say that because, a lot of people give you the blah, blah, blah. They're listening, but they're not listening. I talked about the landing spots. We knew he was going to move. The one team that really had to make the power move we talked about was the Rams. They can't run the ball. That would have been another all-in. We're going to defend our ring. We're going to do that. Now, after that, you throw out your little sprinkles and your wild cards. Who could it be? I said all along, can you imagine McCaffrey in San Fran? That running attack, that they create more holes than a deli with a pound of Swiss cheese in the blade. They're just so creative. Now you bring McCaffrey in. Here's the funny. Not a lot of people are talking about this, Riley. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to just line up out of the backfield. He can line up in the slot if they want.
I don't know if heads are blowing off about this, Jeff. I am a very firm person that typically running backs don't swing things like this. In 95% of cases, running backs are, for the most part, replaceable. There are some exceptions. Christian McCaffrey is an exception, and again, as to piggyback of what you're saying, I don't think I can handpick a better situation for him to be more dangerous. As a rival NFC team, even if the Packers can figure their holes out and become the team that they've been the past 2 years, I'm shaking in my damn boots. As far, the Niners are already our kryptonite. Now you're at, like you said, the creativity. I was just looking at something as far as someone was putting out a blog as far as maybe pump the brakes on his fantasy value. I could see maybe his receiving target shares go down a little bit, but as you're saying, the holes that they create, the downfield block, like he's not just going to be running in between the tackles 20 times a game. They're going to swing him out. They're going to do jet sweep. They're going to do so many creative things, and the yards after catch that they produce. I mean, to give the example, I mean, Deebo Samuel is a special player. He is not the household name that we know him as if he is in, let's say, Carolina, for example, or anywhere. And that's not to take anything away from Deebo Samuel. That is just saying that he is in the perfect situation. And again, Christian McCaffrey could not be in a more scary position. Again, I am shaking in my boots, and I don't think enough people are losing their minds about how dangerous this is. And again, I don't usually go about this with running back moves, but yeah, not only for the 49ers, but stealing them away potentially from the Rams or obviously pie in the sky if the Niners, if you're saying the Niners are the Super Bowl favorites now, it keeps them away from potentially the AFC Super Bowl favorite, the Bills. So I don't think enough people are losing their mind about this trade, if you ask me.
I think they got the blinders on because, especially in the fantasy world, this guy's been banged up. He's been hurt. Okay, I get it. And everyone's like, he's going to wear down, yada, yada, yada. I am 100% opposite of that thought process. First of all, you got an Eagles team 6-0. When we talk on Monday, they're still going to be 6-0 because it's a bye week. I said the one team, if they could get healthy before McCaffrey, that's built to win the NFC, maybe even the Super Bowl, is the Niners. Now, the Bills were the first team to call the Panthers about McCaffrey. And I just sat there and I was like, you talk about piling on. Can you imagine McCaffrey on the Bills? And then as this started going and going, the Rams knew they needed to chime in. So it was whoever's going to move first. Now, it was first-round draft pick. You're not getting a first-round draft pick for a running back. I don't care who it is. You're not getting it. So now you put in a second, a third, a fourth, a third. The question I have, because I haven't seen all the details, Sam Fran drafted the Tyler Pierce or whatever his name was. Did they even get a player back in return for McCaffrey?
Not that I know of. I could be wrong, but all I've seen is the picks. So I don't think so. I think it's I'll see if I can pull it up again. But I thought it was the second, third, fourth, basically. But I'm not positive.
Okay, so now I'm going to play devil's advocate. Sure. You saw last weekend, and nothing against your Packers, nothing against Tom. Listen, those teams are running in muck right now.
Yeah.
You look at the NFC East. You got a 6-0 Philly, a 5-1 Giants that were all waiting the wheel to fall out. You got a 4-2 Dallas team that gets Dak back with the Lions this week, and I think the Bears next week. Then they go, I think, into their bye. So most likely they're going to be 6-2.
Right.
I think Shanahan, who is considered one of the offensive geniuses in this NFL, I don't think McCaffrey's going to get 25 and 30 looks and touches. He doesn't need it on this team.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you. As far as the touches, I can understand them, maybe not being as high. I think the potential for the big play, though, as far as McCaffrey now is what changes. When I looking at McCaffrey's game logs from this year, compared him to the past, and then comparing him now to let's say Deebo Samuel. You look at his rushing stats. I think he has one game where with a rushing pick up over 20 yards. So unless he had multiple within that game, he's only got the 120-plus yard rushing carry. And then I think it's two, and then maybe there's one that's 21 yards. But for the most part, receiving over 20 yards is only a couple times. So I think, and then you look at Deebo, and it's a totally different story. He's got these massive runoff, or whether it's rushes, receptions, whatever. That's where I think, like I said, if you're PPR and you're worried that his catches are going to go way down, then I can understand. But I think the potential for these big plays where he might have, combined 200 yards are absolutely there. That's what I would be optimistic of if I've got him as a fantasy holder or anything along those lines.
And you just nailed it because you talk about Deebo. What makes him so special is the yak. He's got that gear. He's got the Jerry Rice gear, where certain guys, once they catch the ball in stride and you're even with them, they have another gear where you can't catch them. And that is what's going to make McCaffrey so special in this offense, because they create such gashing holes that once McCaffrey gets into open space, not like in Carolina, he's going to be able to run for days.
Right. And I saw the one person that was maybe concerned, at least from an objective standpoint, not concerned like he's going to be, unplayable or anything along those lines. It's not what don't want to discredit this guy to that level. But the concerns of the interior offensive line of the 49ers haven't been great this season. But as we're saying, he's not going to be running 20, 25 times straight up in between the tackles. They're going to find so many ways to get in the damn ball. You could argue he's the most talented player immediately on that team with Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. Maybe you don't believe that or not, but from making guys miss, this team is probably the match made in heaven that I would pick for Christian McCaffrey's talents.
Now, the only thing that scares me just a tad is the fact that I would have expected a bigger move on them to win the division. I thought I just saw on Sports Grid, I don't know if you can pull it up, they're only minus 120 now to win that division. Is that correct?
Let's see. Division odds. Minus 110 on FanDuel. Minus 110. Rams still plus 160.
That smells to me. Now, maybe the Vegas, what is their odds to win the NFC and the Super Bowl now?
NFC 650, they're third behind Eagles and Buccaneers, but they still got Tampa at 2. So I mean, you kind of feel good. Maybe they figure things out. But 3 there in the NFC now, and then 14-1 I see here for the Super Bowl. So that's 5th.
All right. Well, anyone watching and listening, listen. I'm not telling you to go get a second mortgage. I would have them even money plus 110, minus 110 to win the division. I definitely would take them as third favorite. I'll give the Eagles right now the fact that they're sitting in the catbird seat, but the Niners have proven they can win on the road in the playoffs. I'm not worried about that. Trust me. Right. So I like them as third favorite to win the NFC. And listen, I've talked since August, June, July. It's the Bills year. I'm still sticking to the Bills, but I mean, at 14-1, guys, you're missing something, because you don't want McCaffrey to get loose. And then all of a sudden, this Niners look like a Joe Montana, Steve Young team, and they're going to drop them right to the second favorite immediately.
Right. And I mean, even as far as the timing of this, if you think they're live to win this weekend in Kansas City, if they win that game, their odds are going to jump even further just in a few days here. So if you give them a legitimate chance to win, Sunday afternoon against Kansas City at home, then if you're planning on playing them for a future, the time is right now as opposed to next week, unless you think they're going to fall flat on their face. But then again, their odds probably ain't going to change too drastically negatively now that Christian McCaffrey is about to be a bigger point in the offense going forward after that. So the time is now, I would say.
Oh, no doubt, because he flew in, he landed today, he's all fired up. Now, don't forget, a Stanford grad, he's a smart kid. So they're not going to give him the whole playbook, but as what I've heard and through the grapevine is they're going to have him really concentrate in the red zone packages. They're just going to get his feet wet. Maybe he has 10, 12 looks. I don't know. I have no idea. But you don't want the Niners not to steamroll a Kansas City team who is coming off a loss and then say, oh, shit, let me now jump in, because, they made this trade before this weekend, before Tuesday. They're like, let's get him in. We're facing Kansas City. Let's get his feet wet. If they look good and beat Kansas City, I can't wait to see what the number is on Monday.
I know. Certainly jumping over Tampa, and then, maybe still give the benefit of the doubt to the Eagles undefeated for sure as far as conference and Super Bowl. But, yeah, if they beat Kansas City, they're no doubt number 2 odds in the NFC, and I imagine pretty hefty favorites out of the NFC West. Maybe, do you think as far as the division odds there, maybe that's why it's minus 110 and not a little higher? Who do the Rams have this weekend? Are they on a bye?
They're on a bye.
Yeah. So if they lose, then you can reasonably expect the Rams to, still have a decent chance of winning the division, I guess. But I don't know. It's interesting. Like I said, as a Packers fan, again, Packers got their own issues to figure out first. But I'm shaking in my boots even if the Packers can figure things out for what this Niners team could look like in January.
I mean, something, and again, it's not your style. OBJ, I don't think in week 12 is the answer. You need to fix some stuff now. Rumor has it, I read somewhere that OBJ was in Minnesota. listen, if he wants to go over there with Thalen and Jefferson, God bless him. I'm also here in Kansas City. He's chasing a ring. It is what it is. If I'm you in the Packers, listen, there's a young kid that I haven't been high on that has all the skills to pay the bills. It's a fire sale over there. They're saying no, but I would call Carolina, see what it's going to cost to get DJ Moore over there for you.
Yeah, I saw some issues as far as what the cap hit would be as far as if he were to be moved. That would be the biggest issue there. But I mean, not only do you do that, but you got some control over him if that's a viable option there. As far as the Odell to Minnesota, that one kind of triggered to me like maybe it isn't BS at all. I mean, I don't know, maybe pushing the Packers' hand a little bit if the Packers are maybe lowballing OBJ, kind of flirting. Hey, if you guys don't sign him, maybe Minnesota signs him, and you're an even bigger hole now in this division as far as that is concerned. So I don't know. Does you think that holds any water as far as that news kind of maybe leverage against the Packers, trying to force the Packers' hand and make a move at OBJ, or do you think that's maybe actually holds water there?
My source is leaning Kansas City. That makes sense. I don't see the Minnesota. I don't.
Neither do I.
I thought it was warm. I heard earlier in the year it might be Tampa. I wouldn't want to go to Tampa. I've said this all along, and I hope I am so wrong on this. I don't wish ill will on anyone. If Tampa was to go on like this 3-4 game losing streak, I've said all along I could see Tom getting an injury, wink, wink, and just tapping out. I really could. He's got the 10-year deal with the broadcasting afterward. He's got a mess at home. He's not happy. Gronk's not coming back. Listen, if Gronk said, hey, if Tom called Gronk and said, hey, I really, really need you. I miss you. I need you in the locker room. I need Gronk's already said he's not picking up the phone. So that's a big part there. So he's not happy. I mean, he's in a bad division. He can sleepwalk and win that division. I don't know if OBJ wants to be AB this year. He would help. He's playing this as long as someone. He was 3-4 year deal. OBJ, please. I'm not giving you a 3 or 4 month deal. Never mind a 3-4 year deal. So who the hell knows?
Yeah, I think it'll be some time before that one finally plays itself out. But obviously, the only other name, or maybe not the only other name, but the other bigger name that's been kind of flirted around certain circles is Chase Claypool, which I'm not sure what to expect as far as that is concerned, if the Steelers want to keep him or not. But anyways, unless you've got thoughts on that, we can move past the old wide receiver market of the NFL.
Chase had a good week last week, so if Pittsburgh's floating around, sell high, get him out of Dodge because they draft good wide receivers as it is. So before we jump in, Mr. Lucky here, let's just quickly dive into San Diego and Philly. 7:37 first pitch, rotation number 971, 972. Musgrove versus Suarez. We're in that 2-3-2 here. The more I look at this, again, I lean Musgrove, obviously, initially on the front end. We know Philly in the back end. But if you go back to game one, and it was two lefties, Harper and Schwarber, that took the righty Darvish out of play, and that was the final 2-0. I get nervous. That crowd has been electric in Philadelphia. I have said all along, if Hader gets 4 opportunities with the lead, the Padres are going to win. You need the lead going into the 9th here. Can you persuade me not to take the Padres tonight?
Can I persuade you? I don't know, honestly. I guess the only thing that I see, and maybe this is just consensus, I'd like to see some other trackers, but maybe as far as the public bet on Friday, I don't know, because the consensus I have, I'm going to double check maybe a specific spot here to see what the bets and money are looking at, but actually, no, it's swinging the other way. DraftKings has got the bets and money swinging towards the Padres. Towards the Phillies having the majority of bets over there, so I definitely can't swing you on it. I would love to find a way why Musgrove might be due for a regression, but it seems like the dude's on a mission. Whether or not you believe the whatever icy hot or whatever it is on the ears is helping or not, I don't know. But I don't know. The crowd, like if you're buying into the Phillies, you're buying into a couple bombs probably, and the crowd being ballistic. So if you want to bet on that, have some fun and be a part of it, then great. Otherwise, this might be the spot for the Padres, at least in these 3 games here in Philly.
Is tomorrow? Do you have a matchup for tomorrow? Is tomorrow a bullpen game? Clevenger
Uh,
maybe versus I don't know.
let's see. I've got no probables. No probables at all right now.
I mean, off the top of my head, I would say Clevenger. I don't know what the Phillies are going to do. I don't know if they're going to bring back Wheeler for Game 4 on short. Would it be short rest?
I'm trying to think here. We had what was it? Was he the first game?
Tuesday.
Game 1, right?
Tuesday,
Yeah, Tuesday. So that's
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It would be on 4 days.
Game 4. He could be Game 4 with some solid rest, right? Wouldn't that be 5 days rest? No, it's 4
Wednesday,
days
Thursday,
rest.
yeah. So do you? I'll put it this way: if Phillies win today, I think they go bullpen on Saturday and get Wheeler back on 5 days rest for Sunday. That would then allow them to have Nola again back in San Diego for Game 6. You want to make sure that you're going back to San Diego, unless you can sweep the Padres here, which I don't think you can. Which Musgrove are we going to get? Icy Hot or the one that So it's a tough call for me. Okay. So I mean, for props, guys, you got to take a swing at Harper and Schwarber for the home run ball. The lefties, you got to keep it there. The other sneaky one to me, he's shown flashes, is Hoskins. I don't know what his prop is.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys inside 4-1 on each side. Schwarber, the leader, plus 320. Machado 340. Hoskins 350. Harper 350. Soto 390, and then Castellanos 420.
Yeah, and you would think with the lefty going, Manny's overdue. I mean, he did hit a bomb the other day. It's going to be interesting. I'll just say this out loud, because if the Padres are not taking a page out of the Braves book, if you don't get out early and you let this crowd fester, you're done. You're done.
Yep. 100%. I'm just looking to see what the numbers are. I mean, Schwarber 2 for 16 lifetime against Musgrove. Hoskins 0 for 8. Harper 3 for 14. Castellanos 5 for 18 with the bomb is looking like maybe the best numbers against Musgrove lifetime. So I don't know. Which again, I think I can't remember who it was. Schwarber. Somebody else had those numbers against Schwarber, and I think that was his. Can't remember if it was his moonshot bomb or one of the other ones. So of course that never, always holds weight. But yeah, I don't know. I might not be taking a home run prop tonight.
All right, let's bring him in. It's that time of the week. El Senor Mr. Lucky.
Hey, boys. Hey, Riley.
Hello, sir. How are
you,
you?
Jeff?
I'm doing
TGI,
all right.
Good. TGI Friday. Happy to be on. Sorry about the mix-up yesterday. That's what happens when you get someone that doesn't know how to spell Mom or Dad backwards on a Thursday.
Well, and here's the funny. I said something to Riley. I deal with it with one of our shows that is not live to air yet. We're looking to the SBC, the Sportsbook Confessions, with myself and Dave Sharapan and Brady Tinker. Now, Brady lives in Dallas. Dave lives obviously in Vegas. And our producer, our star producer, Kiefer, lives down south. So everyone's in different time zones. So when I assume when I say 4 o'clock, that means, okay, everyone has to figure out I'm 4 o'clock Eastern. Brady, you're 3 o'clock Central. Dave, you're 1 o'clock West Coast time. And
yeah,
we know what happens when we assume, Mr. Lucky.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, it was good, Jeff, because I was not prepared yesterday. I'm less prepared today, but we're ready to discuss some NFL for the people.
Well, I have to ask you, because we know you got your kryptonites. Me and Riley talked for 10, 12 minutes. I said to you last night, get your tickets last night as soon as the news broke. How you feel about the Niners with CMC?
It's interesting because I just read a tweet by your friend, Brady Tinker. And my immediate thought was, Jeff, how are they going to distribute touches with Mr. Electric, Debo Samuel, and Kittle. So I think that's the challenge. I still think that team's motor is Debo. I mean, this guy's electric. He t- he doesn't remind me of. I mean, there's nobody we can compare to Brady to Barry Sanders in my lifetime. I mean, when that guy touched the ball, I thought it was 75 yards and see you later. And I get that feeling sometimes with Debo. So I think with the Niners, it's going to be up to Shanahan. I mean, obviously the defenses will scheme differently now. It's a terrific move. Uh, my belief is Niners go as far as their defense takes them. I mean, they've got to get healthy. They're still number one in the league in yards per play allowed, which is one of the few metrics I like because I think that's a sign of how good your defense are. Now, do I think the Niners are a shoe-in to make it to the NFC Championship game? I do. But I think I think it's Philly or the Niners, Jeff. I don't and Riley. I don't see anything else this year. What my eyes say, these old man eyes say, those are the two best teams in the NFC this year. I give Dallas a lot of applause. I'm not a big fan of McCarthy, but I think that team's got a great defense this year. And we got Dak coming back. They're laying 7, Jeff, against the Leones. We'll talk about that one, my friend. So I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch the Niners, and I'm happy for McCaffrey. He's heading home. What are your thoughts?
Well, you broke it down pretty good because as I was explaining to Riley, and obviously you understand this, you go back to last Sunday, and at 1:00, 4 huge favorites all lose. Lamar at the Giants, they lose. The Niners, surprisingly, for some people, Atlanta are now 6-0 against the spread, win outright. But the two big surprises is the Jets just coming in and bullying Riley's Packers. And then, of course, Tom and company laying an egg at Pittsburgh. And so Father Time, Tom, Aaron not happy. I see that. You broke it down perfect, though. You got a Philly team undefeated who will be undefeated on Monday because they're on their bye. You got a rejuvenated team. You talked about Debo and distributing the ball. I think everyone in that 49ers locker room saying, wow, okay, you guys believe in us. Now you just added the biggest move anyone could make that you couldn't have placed the guy. You just placed Barry Sanders in the backfield. So I think they'll be okay with that. Dallas, Dak's back. They got 2 layups. They got the Lions, supposedly a layup, and then they got the Bears. Lions coming off the bye week. But then when you break it off in a playoff setting, you got Jalen Hurts and a new coach that have never been on that stage. You got Mike McCarthy, who has a ring, but we all know Mike in the playoffs. And now you got Shanahan with Jimmy Garoppolo, with CMC, with Debo, and this defense. And I've been saying for weeks, it's the Eagles to lose, but the team that's built to win and win on the road in the playoffs, and they have, is the Niners, and they got the better coach.
No argument here. I mean, the Niners, to me, are the best team in the NFC, healthy. They have to be healthy. And Jimmy G has to manage the game. But they're going to be they're going to be very tough to beat, I think, if they're healthy. They're missing key ingredients. I think they get I think they get Williams back this week, which should help. I'm hearing myself twice. I don't know why. So forgive me. So yeah, it'll be good. You guys want to go over the board? Let me. We can share some of my thoughts. I've got. It's an interesting board. I don't think it's going to be I don't think the kettle will be full this week. I think this is the one week, Jeff and Riley, that I really see a lot of chalk covering. Will the Falcons stumble? They're 6-0 against the spread. For the record, I've been on the Falcons one time this year in CIRCA. I'm 0-1. I played against them. Uh, hey, by the way, we're top 169.
Very good.
We're tied, but we're in the top 169. So we were sitting at the Westgate last week, and we had a 4-0 Sunday brewing. And then the Jaguars decided to not cover someone on 3rd and 10 when all the Colts needed was a field goal. There were several people surrounding us, and I looked at all of them. I said, "It's football. But what can you do? You know, they come. Sometimes you get some, sometimes you don't. You just trust yourself and you move forward." So we're ready to rock and roll. We have no idea what we're going to choose this week, Riley. I'll be calling you in an hour and a half, and we're going to talk. Jeff, I'll be calling you in 2.5 hours, and we'll talk. Because I have no idea, my friends. We'll go over the board. Let's talk about some of the games, and I'll tell you what my eyes see. By the way, Jeff, before I discuss something regarding the CIRCA, I have a ticket on the Astros, as you know. You have a ticket on the Astros, Alabama, and Buffalo. And when January rolls around and February rolls around, you are cashing, my friend. You are cashing because Alabama is still there. That was an amazing game, Jeff, that we saw live in person at the MGM. We moved around a little bit last week. We had a great time. What a game, Jeff. We won't get into the zebras.
Yeah, but my question, my big question, I already know the answer, I think. Did you take my advice and get Hooker at 14-1 to win the Heisman?
No. And that was a tremendous call, by the way.
It was just set up where if Penn State, Drew Allar will start at quarterback for Penn State. That just crossed the ticker. It just set up if you liked Tennessee, you thought they had a chance to win the game outright at 14-1. If they did, and he put on a show like he did, 5 touchdowns, his first interception all year, by the way. You just grabbed a little pizza and beer money at the 14, and on Monday morning he went to plus 440. He's the second favorite right now. Again, they need to sheet. They need to get to the SEC championship game for him to have a shot. Stroud's now even money. He's going to probably throw 4 or 5 this week. You need a Stroud at Ohio State to lose a game there, but that is what it is for the NFL this week. Actually, the ticket. I like Houston. I like where I'm sitting. I'm afraid of Phillies. I'd rather see the Padres. Just there's some magic going on with the Phillies. I need Bama to sheet. I need Georgia to get in there undefeated, and they kind of olay it because a 2-loss Alabama team won't get to the Final Four. And I'm sinking or swimming with the Bills. And that's going to be the funny. I talk about hedge. I talk about guaranteed profit. You both know that. Yeah. If I'm sitting there with a ticket with the Bills to win the Super Bowl that's cashing for $11,000, okay, and the Bills are favored by 6 against the Niners, I'm supposed to at least do one or two things. Going to have to take the Niners plus 225 in the money line or the Eagles. At least have 1,000 on that to get me 2,000, and then take the plus 5.5 for 6 for at least 1,000, 1,500. Maybe try to get cute Bills when they don't cover. But I'm sitting there saying, there's no one beating the Bills.
I mean, this Jeff, and you're right. I mean, this Josh Allen, this guy's a tremendous football player. And the Bills, demonstrated that they're the team to beat last week. The whole world, Jeff, as you know, was on the over. I mean, I think if I had a poll of people I was sitting around, they all looked at Mr. Lucky and said, "You have an over ticket?" And I said, "No, I don't," because the whole world is on the over. By the way, very sneaky aspect of the Bills, and I think they demonstrated this last week. When they run the ball effectively and they ran the ball well enough, to continue time of possession.
Injury.
They think one of the biggest differences between them and the Chiefs, I trust the Bills to be able to get the running game going. I don't trust the Chiefs to get the running game going. And I think the Chiefs are going to have a very difficult game this week. But yeah, Buffalo's a team to beat, Jeff. As long as that guy, that Superman, Josh Allen, is healthy, nobody will beat the Bills in the AFC, in my opinion.
I'm with
Film
you,
at 11.
especially
Film at
he
11.
can do it rain, sleet, snow, wind, 40 mile. I guess they lost in that 40-mile-an-hour wind game, but you know what I mean. It doesn't matter the weather. The dude can play a bunch of different styles of football too. That's what I love about him the most.
What a competitor that guy is.
Yeah.
He's terrific.
And the difference between the last 2 years, most likely, it's not guaranteed, obviously, is you're going to have to go through Buffalo. And if they get the 1 seed, they're going to get a week off. And then in comes a tomato can. There will be 10-point underdogs. They'll just walk through them. And then will it be Kansas City? Will Baltimore find a way? I don't think the only team designed to stay up with the Bills right now is the Chiefs. It's Patty Mahomes. This year, though, most likely it will be in Buffalo. Buffalo will be at least 6-point favorites. I know a lot of people will say, well, how can't you take Patty Mahomes? I get that. But what we're seeing in the Phillies right now with their home games, just take that to mid-January, 5-10 degrees, wind howling, and that crowd going apeshit. I mean, there's not enough tables in the state of New York that will be broken in that 2-week run.
Yeah, and motivation too, obviously. Should be an interesting NFC. I think that's still up in the air. I think Philly is for real. We had a very small play on the Eagles last week. We just thought it was time for the wheels to fall off the Mini Cooper. But I was impressed, and I think I tweeted this just how impressed I was with Dallas coming back down 20-0. They came back, made that a game. So that team believes it'll be. I'm one of these football guys that, while I know Dak is the better quarterback, I'm not sure I'm taking the Cowboys this week, Jeff and Riley. I mean, you've got Dak. It's almost like you're switching from the limousine to the motorcycle. You kind of got to come back. You have a different scheme with Cooper. You're going to run now a different scheme with Dak. Here are the Lions sitting a little salty after getting absolutely cremated by the Patriots off a bye. It's been a pretty profitable spot for teams coming off a bye on the road. There's 2 this week. One of them I will not be playing because you know what I feel about the Raiders. But I'm eyeing the Lions this week a little bit in that one. We definitely have that one on the table. You've got the Giants going to the Jags. I'm a Giants fan. I have a Giants over 7 win ticket, hopefully cashing. Are the Giants a good team? They're winning. Are they doing it effectively? Maybe the stats say no, but I do like how the culture is. I keep repeating myself on the culture, but that Dable's got them believing. Daniel Jones is not making mistakes. They're finding ways to win. And the Jaguars, here's the stat of the day for you. I'm sure you know about it. Jaguars have lost 18 consecutive games to the NFC. If you think I'm going to the window with the Jags this week, I'll walk to Cape Cod and taxi Dawson around town this weekend if you think I'm taking the Jags. That will be Giants or pass for this better.
Riley.
Go ahead.
Riley, you have another engagement coming up. Any final questions before you leave to Mr. Lucky?
No, I don't think I have any questions. I'm kind of echoing what you say. I had my highest volume last week and had a really nice week. It's probably going to be my lowest volume this week. But I'm kind of with you. I think there's a couple of chalky spots that I like. The Lions-Cowboys game, I'm with you. I'm not getting into it, but anytime the quarterback is coming off of a hand injury like that, I'm at least pumping the. I'm not taking the quarterback with a bum hand, or maybe even if he is fixed. I at least want to wait and see if I'm interested in any Dak Prescott Cowboys action. So I'm with you. And I mean, every single time where you count the Lions out, that's when they, they got you exactly where you want them. That's when they smack you in the mouth. So not saying that's happening. I could see that game going a million different ways, but I don't disagree with any interest there. That Giants Jaguars game, I mean, the mind tricks, as you say, Jeff Dawson, are
Yeah.
certainly rampant with that one. I don't know. I have a theory on that one, and maybe you guys can agree or disagree with me. As far as not only a 5-1 New York team, but the New York market and the nation buying into this Giants team to some degree up against a 2-4 Jags team. If you set that minus 2.5, 3.5, or whatever, or even higher, isn't everybody in the world taking the Giants at 90% of the time? And I'm not saying they aren't now, but at least you might have some guys that like to play the, expect that to be a trap spot. So now you get some of the money on the Jaguars because if you're trying to do these mind tricks. Whereas if that wasn't the case and it was 2.5, 3.5, 90% of the liability would be all over the Giants. Is that crazy? That type of thought for this one, and maybe that leads you into thinking the Giants actually could be the side, or do you think it's actually closer to a potential trap spot here, and taking the Giants is an ugly move there?
Well, you got to look at it this way: the Giants go to London, bad first half. They somehow 17-0 second half beat the Packers. They come home. They're 5-point dogs, 5.5 to the Ravens. They outplayed the Ravens. I mean, they shut Lamar down. I was dead wrong on that game. I thought it was a great spot for Lamar. They traveled to a Jags team who came out guns a-blazing, who right now look like the Jags again. But Lucky told you a stat. 0-18, their last 18 games outright against the NFC. So you both know I trust and respect the opening number. With that said, why in holy hell are the Jaguars favored? I think it's
they want giant money, right?
I think because I would say that the Giants have to be the biggest public trendy dog of the week. How many people from New York alone are going to have Giants money line and Jets money line? I mean, come on now. No one other than me, maybe Mr. Lucky. I haven't heard it. Has anyone else said the Jets go into Lambeau, stun the Packers? They're basically at a pick 'em into the Broncos. Can anyone tell me who the Jets play next week?
They play the Patriots.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't like the Jets. I liked the Jets last week. And by the way, Riley, I got to tell you, the Packers are in a lot of trouble. I mean, they were Jeff. Jeff and Riley. I know Riley, you saw the game. There was a stretch in that game when it was 0-0, and the Jets had 1 yard passing, and the Packers couldn't do anything. I mean, they were manhandled at the line. I don't like the Jets this week. I'll be honest, Jeff and Riley. If I'm going to pull the trigger on either one of those games, it's on the Giants, only because I don't trust the Jaguars. And if you can lose 18 in a row against the NFC, well, guess what? You can lose 19. So my theory is it's the Giants or pass. Now, as far as CIRCA, I have it highlighted. Pass it. I sent the guys 2 texts today. Put a trash on that one. I don't like it. If I had to go to the window, it'd be the Giants. I don't like the Colts and Titans. Riley, I'll leave you with this if you got to go, my friend.
Yeah.
Tread very lightly. Tread very lightly with your Tampa Bay Bucks, who have to destroy the Carolina Panthers, right, Jeff? I mean, Carolina, they got half the team already in tea times tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 38-0 Bucks. Thanks for playing. I'm not interested. I've seen funnier things happen. That line's up to 13, I think, Jeff. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And honestly, you say what you want about the dysfunction of the Panthers. I am not here to discredit that. there are some pieces on that defense that are really talented and at least play with a lot of heart in a lot of situations. Maybe they lay an egg. I don't know. I'm not saying to take the Panthers by any means. But yeah, I'm not touching the Tampa Bay Bucks with the 10-foot pole either. I'm with you 100% on that one.
I
Like I
would
said,
too.
it's probably going to be my lowest volume week. I don't have. I think I've only got maybe even one little sprinkle so far, but. I do have to head out, so I appreciate you
Very
guys
good,
for
Riley.
taking some time with me. I will talk to you guys later. Lucky, always a pleasure. Jeff, I don't know if you've got plans for us this upcoming weekend or not, but we will most certainly be in touch. But thank you guys once again. I will see you guys later.
Best of luck,
Take
my
care.
friend.
Be safe. Enjoy tonight. Have some fun.
Definitely.
Best
Take
of
care.
luck. You know, Jeff, it's funny because when you do this circa contest and you try and
Limit increase.
you sort of try to select 5 games. You have 6 or 7 on the table. You try and put a few in the trash can. I just don't see a lot of favorites going down this week. I like the Ravens. I don't know what I'm getting with Cleveland. We had the Pats last week, Jeff. What a nice money line parlay. We took the Pats. I think the Packers are in a lot of trouble, but I mean, I don't trust Washington. I think the Jets are in a lot of trouble this week. Short-term memory, the Broncos can't score. They're off a short week. What I don't like about that game is now you have the Jets favored. I believe they've been steamed, right? The Jets opening line was Broncos -2. Was it, Jeff?
I'm looking right now up onto the left for me. Give me 1 second. Yeah, this one over here was saying Jets -1. That was the computer model.
Yeah.
I saw Denver as a -2. It's a pick. It's actually in the over the pond places. Jets -1. The locals on the Vegas Strip are Broncos -1. And as you were talking about deciphering this circa card on a week-to-week basis, I talk about you usually have 1 or 2 kryptonite teams. You, like myself, stay away from the Thursday night game. And then you got to decide, am I getting into the Sunday night game? Am I getting into the Monday night game? Now you add the buys, and the menu just keeps shrinking, where you almost are pinned in a corner on those final hours with your group saying, all right, guys, there's only 9 games that we can really choose from right now. We got to choose 5 of them, and then you start from there.
Absolutely. And then you add the fact that you've got teams that are on good rolls right now. I mean, is Atlanta? You know, Atlanta's your simple Mike Francesa line that you've made famous on Twitter. If I didn't go to your wedding, or you didn't invite me to your wedding, I certainly don't want you to invite me to your funeral. I ain't going with you. We haven't been on the Falcons bandwagon all year. Last week, frankly, that was a terrible spot for the Niners. It was not on our card. I was doing this around 1:30 Pacific time because I knew Dawson would have told me, Lucky, Falcons were the side. You know, Bengals kind of got lucky last week. That was, by the way, Jeff, I got to tell you, you know, we love to talk over the course of the week, and your input is appreciated. I liked the Bengals all week. I was wavering so much with the group on that one. We respect you so much on in these lanes. We said, you know, well, let's just pass it. And to truth be told, the Bengals were lucky to win. If it's not for a 60-yard pass at the end there with 1:40 left, the Saints dominated that game, as you very well know.
And in the last minute, the refs didn't throw the flag. That guy got mugged. Yeah. He got mugged on the 3. So I thought it was a tricky spot for the Bengals. I wasn't buying the sizzle of, Joe coming back home with Chase. He was wearing Chase's LSU shirt. But like you said, not for long. They were dominated. They get the long pass to Chase, the missed tackle, and then the ref just turned a blind eye. I mean, that was the same penalty that they threw in the playoff game at the Saints. So they throw the flag, the Saints go in and score, they win that game. So that's how close these things are. Yeah. And it's just one game of 5 of 1 week of 1 month of 4 months. That's
And
what it
there
is.
and there's so many variables, Jeff, as you know. I mean, last week there were 3 teams that rushed for over 200 yards. None of them covered. The Ravens, the Jaguars, who manhandled the Colts. I saw most of that game because we had a vested interest in it. And the Colts, who had scored 4 touchdowns all season, scored on their last 5 drives. You just and your friend and my friend, I'll call him Mr. Brady Tinker. He has a great saying that I've written down a few times because he's right. It's the ebb and flows for reasons unknown. And that's why when you look at these stats in the NFL, and I mentioned this in week 1 or 2, so many games you look at the stats, in-game stats, and you scratch your head. Who covered? Who won? I mean, even last night, the Saints. But you can't prognosticate 2 pick sixes. I mean, that's insane. I leaned the Saints in that game, and frankly, I'm a little worried because when I read Thursday night's game pretty well, I feel really good about the card on Sunday. And if I would have gone to the window last night, I would have taken the Saints. And boy, was I wrong. Thanks for playing, Andy Dalton, by the way.
So we got this card here. Got a few minutes left. Again, it's not a great card.
No.
You talked about it could be one of those weeks where the chalk come running in. Don't forget, again, last Sunday at 1:00, 4 big chalks come crashing down. Again, no one talked about the Niners after they, egg on my face. I had the Panthers the week before against the Niners. They dominated. Well, they stay down south for the next week because they were going to Atlanta. Everyone was on the Niners, but no one talked about the fact that the Niners not only stayed in wherever they stayed, they had the Chiefs the following week. No one talks about that. That's why I said with the Jets, hey, Jets are playing inspired ball. They believe in Salah. Salah's doing a hell of a job. They got a good young team. And someone talked about it earlier this week. If you watch them, they are fast as hell. They
Yes.
look like an SEC versus a Big Ten team a lot of times. They're hungry. Rodgers, I knew after the first drive they were toast. You could tell by the facial expression, the head already down, block punt, 7-0, thanks for playing. Packers never even in that. Now, they're going against a Denver team which can't score. They just can't score. Short week. Nothing. No one has any reason to bet the Broncos. Again, if I Venmoed you $100 to bet on the Broncos, you'd Venmo me 200 and say, take the wife and kids out because there's no reason to get into that game. The only side in my eyes would be the Broncos or nothing. Where
100.
someone else would say, the only side I could play is the Jets, just like the Giants. Why in holy hell would I play as Jaguar team when the Giants just are finding ways to win and the Jaguars have lost 18 straight to the NFC?
Listen, if the Broncos were favored, I'm on the Jets. But the right team is now favored, okay? That's Broncos or pass. The Broncos have been underdogs, as you know, Jeff. Broncos have been underdogs this year one other time. They played the 49ers on Sunday night. What happened in that game? It was an ugly win, but guess what? I had the Niners in CIRCA, and I'm almost sure that'll happen again this week. It's just it. I love the Jets. I love Brees Hall. This Sauce Gardner. I mean, this guy. I mean, he's hotter than tomato sauce. I mean, this kid is on you like a blanket. He can play. Their lineman from Alabama, I believe, Williams, I think. He's terrific. Great analogy. It is a fast team. I think the Jets are definitely on the rise. I don't like them this week. I don't like the Raiders. I'll go through the card a little bit real quick, Jeff. I don't like the Raiders because they can't cover at home, and they have been a kryptonite for us, as you know, twice. I have no idea on the Chiefs and the 49ers. I do lean under in that game. Jimmy is 16-4 as a dog. Again, will the Chiefs be flat off Buffalo? I don't know, Jeff, because they have a bye next week. How often does Mahomes lose 2 in a row? So I think that's sort of that could be a statement game for the Chiefs. McCaffrey's now on the Niners. Chiefs lost to the Bills. They might put their big pants in to pull up their pants and say, guys, let's prove to the 49ers how good we are. And also, 49ers have a little bit to play for. That could be a so-called revenge because of the Super Bowl. I lean Seahawks. I'm not impressed with the Chargers. I think they've had three very fortunate wins. I will lean Seahawks there. I mean, what are we getting out of the Steelers and Dolphins, Jeff? I mean, Dolphins outplayed Minnesota last week. Turnovers and penalties killed them. You buying the Steelers on the road on a Sunday night? The only angle there could possibly be that Flores is back in town. Maybe you've got a motivated Steelers team. I believe you've got I believe the Dolphins are laying 7 still. I don't like that game. And I think the Patriots are definitely going to win, Jeff, but are they going to win by margin with the Jets next? By the way, what's happening in Bill land? Is this Mac's team, Jeff? What are you hearing? Because I mean, Frank Zappa's playing well.
Yeah. The way I describe the story on the shows, and I will tell you, is Mac was pissed off in the offseason. He was pissed off when Judge and Patricia came. The only reason those two are on the staff is that the Lions and Giants are both paying for the bulk of their salaries, so it's minimum from the Pat side. No OC, no quarterback coach. Second-year quarterback needs some guidance. He needs some help. Now, last year, they didn't open up the playbook for him either. They made sure it was real tight windows, yada, yada, yada. He gets hurt. Hoyer comes in. He gets hurt in the first quarter. Frank Zappa, as you'd like to say, comes in. Very tight window. Had an opportunity. Took the Packers to overtime. Then comes home. He has a layup against the Lions. The defense. No one's talking about this enough either. It's the defense that has now helped the offense. They shut out the Lions. They go to Cleveland. And what's really, really interesting is they opened up the playbook a little for Mr. Zappi. And next thing you know, he threw for over 300 yards. The defense plays strong again. They blow them out. They got a Monday night game now. I heard all week, whoever started the Monday night game was starting in New York the following week. Mac made sure he was ready. He's not happy. Now, you know, and I know it's up to the team after 4 years. Are we going to offer you an extension, or you're going to be a lame duck quarterback? Bill's seen enough with Zappi. I think he's all set. It's now Mac's time to turn back, win the locker room, say, this is my team. I was drafted number 16 in the first round, not this guy from Central Western Michigan or wherever he played in the 5th, 6th round, whenever they grabbed him. This is my house. So you're going to see an inspired Mac. You're going to see a fired up team. I agree the Patriots will win. I'm a little leery of the number. Whenever I say that, especially on the big stage, the defense shines. Let me see what the under-over is. The under-over is 38.5, 39, 40. This is a 30-10 game. This is a 30-13 game, 28-13. Would I suggest to run to the window and take the Pats? No. I could never tell you to go take the Bears, though.
I also, and I don't know, I can't confirm this, but I heard through some sources, buddies of mine, that Bill really likes Zapp, that he follows Bill's guidance. I don't know if this is true, Jeff, but I heard that sometimes Mac doesn't agree with the play calling and diverse from the schemes. Have you heard anything, or is that completely nonsense?
Bill wants a puppet. Zappy is the puppet, okay?
Yes.
But in that Cleveland game, he was making some throws that they were not allowing Mac to make. They didn't open up that playbook. So Mac's a little disappointed. Listen, Tom gets to play in his headset. He was there for 20 years. If he gets to the line, he checks, just like Peyton Manning in Omaha and all the true veterans. Rodgers, the same thing. These kids are not in that level yet. So you're not going to go to the lineup with already another play in mind, see the defense, and then, 2, 3, 4, 5 plays in a row, overstep your boundaries, especially if you then throw a pick, whatever. So Zappy's the puppet. Mac wants to say, guys, enough's enough here. Can you take off the what am I looking here? Can you take off the training wheels? I'm all set. Let me, because listen, what did he do at Alabama, Mr. Lucky? He got these track stars into space and they took over. They're not giving him that opportunity. Now they say they have no weapons in New England. Well, Thornton looked pretty damn good last Sunday. Jacoby Myers is catching double-digit passes.
They're running the
Henry's
ball well.
healthy again. Stevenson's running for almost 200 yards a week. He's got weapons. I don't want to hear about he has no weapons.
Yeah, I like the Pats. And Jeff, I have them on my fantasy defense. They're my fantasy defense. A really solid defense. It's funny, Jeff, because what you said earlier about the SEC and what Mac also had at Alabama reminds me a little bit about Trevor Lawrence. This guy had the cream of the crop as an offensive line. You've got a guy like Zappy who went to a smaller school, excelled. I actually liked him in college. And listen, when Bill drafts you, he's got to see something. Jeff, is Trevor Lawrence really maybe overrated? Perhaps. He had the cream of the crop as an offensive line. You get these guys like, out of Division II, or they don't have the 5-star recruits. So I've always been amazed how Bill does it. He knows how to draft, and sometimes you never know. That's why these all due respect to Mel Kipers and these draft analysts, they sometimes don't realize that these kids really look good because what they have on the offensive line is cream of the crop. And I think Trevor Lawrence is showing you and me that he's not ready yet to be a worthy of a number one pick. Yeah, you got a kid like Zappy under a great coach, a team that knows what they're doing. He's excelling. And that to me is why Belichick is the best of all time. I mean, Jeff, they're 3-3. They'll be 4-3. The AFC this year might have an 8 or 9 win team get into the playoffs. I got news for you. New England's going to be in the playoff picture.
Well, I'm going to just say this as we were talking. Darren Waller downgraded to out off of a bye, this bum. And I'm calling him a bum because he got me last year. He fell into a spot where I had to take him. The value was too good. He got paid a lot of money. And all of a sudden, he can't play for a couple of weeks. He has the week off, and he was just downgraded to out. He is a bum, a B-U-M-B bum. And going back to Lawrence, I think Lawrence had ETN. I think Lawrence had T. Higgins. And so don't forget, he was poisoned by Urban Meyer last year. So you got to throw that away. He came out well the first 2 weeks. He has struggled. Now, he's got some weapons. He's got Kirk. He's got Zay Jones. He's got Evan Ingram. He's got ETN. He's got James Robinson. I think maybe after the first 2 weeks, maybe he got a little too comfortable. I think it's time to go back to basics. Go back to basics. Pick your spots. Use your weapons with Robinson. Use your weapons with ETN. Pick your spot to Zay, to Kirk, to Ingram. Allow the defense to keep you in the game, but the offense has to make a couple plays.
Yeah, and Trevor did really do something last week that was impressive. He led that team to that drive when they had the ball, put him up 26-21, pretty much on his legs. Terrific job. And the analogy, I think, was just that some of these kids have such a great – they've got 5-star recruits. They get to the NFL, everybody's a 10-star recruit. Real quick, Jeff, unders right now, and I hate totals, as you know. I play 5 totals a year, and they're usually 5 unders a year. Got a couple unders this week I like, and I'm going to share one with you. San Francisco KC, like the under there.
Right now you can get it at 49 juiced under. There is a couple 48.5, so shop around under 49. Okay.
Like that one quite a bit. And I'm going to give you a money line parlay for the week 7 crowd. You like that one?
Go ahead.
I'm going to give you and this, I'm not going on a limb on this one, but I'm going to give you the Cowboys to the Seahawks for your afternoon pizza and beer money line parlay.
Sounds like a plan.
Jeff, we're doing pretty good in CIRCA. I'm kind of pleased how things are going. We're still we're lurking. We trust the process. We appreciate your feedback weekly, and let's get them this weekend.
Yeah, as Riley brought it up, and as you know, you get our texts, our alerts on a daily basis. It's a grind, and there's so much. There's a million ways to skin the cat, to peel the onion back. We try to go as far as we can, and then we add some more to it. We do a lot more back here that most people will do. Some people like trends, some people like angles, some people here 0-18, they run right to the Giants. There's a lot more than that. Let's just say for poops and giggles, obviously, Mariota's out. Therefore, everyone's going to run to the, Bengals go to -9. It's like in the NBA, LeBron's out. They were favored by 5. Now they're 1-point favorites. Well, everyone goes bets against them. Anthony Davis and Westbrook have a big week, big game. And then, you can't run to the window based upon an injury. There's just too many factors. But where I'm going with this, Mr. Lucky, is it's a process. And if you don't go to the big dance without a game plan and without a process, you can't compete with the big dogs. And this is your first year with it. I can't applaud you guys enough. You're in the top 180. You're banging your heads. Don't forget the first quarter, the guy went 18-1-1. I mean, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. But those quarters, that's usually what it takes. It takes an 18-1-1, an 18-2, a 17-1-2, whatever it is. You just keep grinding, because the further this goes, and those other guys that don't have that mentality, they're just dropping off. And you're going to get to that final quarter, hopefully within the top 100, 150. And you're really only competing against about 300 people. Mm-hmm. The rest of them, it's like a fantasy team. After the first 5 weeks, they're 0-5. They're waiting for baseball. They could give a rat's what about football. So only the strong survive, my friend. Only the strong survive.
And Jeff, and I do trust myself. I think I can do okay with NFL. I mean, I've been doing this a while, and I think I'm comfortable with how I select and how we select games. We're not going to be perfect. We need to get lucky. You and I know the Giants shouldn't have covered last week, but they did. You and I know that the Jags probably should have won, but they didn't. It's like you say, my friend, move on to Cincinnati. The past is behind you. You can only look ahead. And as Frank Sinatra said, and you can see him behind me, we do it our way or my way. And enjoy it.
We will.
Pleasure, amigo. Thank you for having me on.
Always.
I'm glad all your success, Jeff. I call you on Sports Grid. That was a lot of fun. Love your success. Nobody out there nicer, man of their word like you. And you know your shit.
Well, we can't thank you enough. And again, we met in Vegas. We'll be meeting again back in Vegas. The journey's just begun. I'm a firm believer. There's no such thing as coincidences, and you were brought into my life for a reason. Me and Dave talk about that all the time.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
And it's a pleasure for us to have you here every Friday. And we look forward at 4:15 my time, 1:15 your time.
Yeah.
And we look forward to it. So anyone watching and listening, if you don't follow him, I have it right on the bottom at Follow Fade. I call it Lucky's Lobby, Lucky's Locks and Bagels. Go give him a follow. He'll follow you back. If you have any questions, he actually answers back, like most of the people with the big check marks and platforms don't. That's for another show. So from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Mr. Lucky at Follow Fade, we wish everyone a blessed weekend. Don't be the pizza guy, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.